Funny to see U.S. bankers surprised to learn that China is indeed socialist and that socialism with China's characteristics is not a mere slogan. In China, the financial sector is state-owned. Finance is a tool used to serve the real economy, especially manufacturing. In the U.S., which the neoliberal era has been deindustrialized on behalf of Wall Street, the real economy serves the financial sector. Okay, there's a couple of things wrong with this. Now, I normally agree with Benjamin Norton on just about absolutely everything. But there's a couple of things really wrong with this statement. What does that even mean? What does socialist financial sector even mean? Well, I can tell you it doesn't mean anything. In fact, they're mutually exclusive. Um, the financial sector, as it exists in China, is wholly not socialist, and China is not socialist, and that is very blatant to anyone who knows even a modicum of what socialism actually is. Yes, I know Xi Jinping, bai zhao, bai zhao. Yes, I know that. I know your meme response. When you have an entire financial sector dedicated to turning profits off of private capital, and you can't really call that socialism when it's not being planned according to the state and it's being planned according to market mechanisms. You really cannot call that socialism. That's using the anarchy of the market, which is literally, as defined by Marx and as defined by every Marxist since then, the exact opposite of what socialism is. Okay, if it was socialist, there would be no financial sector, or there would be no financial sector even anywhere near as exactly what it exists in China today. If you even look at how China works, if you even just look at even what their news is saying about their own banking system, they're talking about their own mortgages. There was no such thing as a mortgage in the Soviet Union. There was no such thing as a mortgage in any other socialist country, because that implies ownership of private property, which is the opposite of socialism. It also implies a market mechanism, which is the opposite of socialism. And one other thing I want to take exception with here is this idea that the neoliberal era has a deindustrialized countries, and that it's just doing whatever Wall Street, the banks are just doing whatever Wall Street wants to do. Well, Wall Street pretty much is just a bank. So it's doing what itself wants to do according to his own logic. The problem here is that there's kind of a reversal of causality here. There has not been a deindustrialization simply because banks want it. That's not how this works. There has been a deindustrialization because of the tendency of the rate of profit to fall. In fact, if you look at the rates of profit, I mean, Paul Cockshott has written a ton about this during each stage, and the neoliberal stage being no different. That as soon as the profitability falls, there has to be a new mechanism to return profits. And that's no different with the sudden shift of manufacturing to Mexico, and then all of a sudden a new shift of manufacturing to China to turn profitability up once again. The neoliberal era is no different. So it wasn't an intentional drive to deindustrialize the United States because the banks wanted it to happen. It's because capitalism literally needed it to happen. The way he's phrasing it here was that the banks wanted it to happen because of, he doesn't really specify a reason. It's just the banks wanted it to happen. But in fact, there very much was a very real mechanism of capitalism itself that needed this to happen in order to maintain the profitability of the global capitalist system, particularly that of the United States itself. So again, I very much agree with a lot of what Ben Norton says, but what he says here is very much is just uttering and complete nonsense. There is absolutely no such thing as socialist China. This China today is not socialist. It was socialist in the past. It is not socialist here today, and it's not that way because they managed to do industrialization. Industrialization does not equal being socialist, because if that's true, then every other country that ever went through an industrialization phase, including Germany, the UK, and the United States, were also socialist, therefore. So I'm sorry, Ben, you're actually very, very wrong on this one. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.